With heart disease being the leading killer for both men and women, it is really important that you know how to prevent heart disease. And the beauty is diet is one of the most instrumental things that you can do and change to have an impact on your heart health, preventing heart disease, preventing cholesterol levels from going up, decreasing the plaque in the arteries. We can have such an impact with diet. Granted, it's diet and exercise and not smoking and lifestyle and sleep and community. All of that is so important for heart health and longevity. I'm going to focus on the diet part and what you can do. I think it's just important that I just run through real quick, what your numbers mean. Sometimes, you get your profile and don't really know what it means and what you should look for. So you have your total cholesterol, which ideally you want to be less than 200. You have your LDLs, which are the bad guys. You want them under 100 and ideally close to 70. Your HDLs, you want definitely above 45, and the higher the better. So if you see them in the 80s or 90s, that's great. That's really elevated mostly by exercise, not diet, is your HDL levels. And then your triglyceride levels, which are an independent risk factor for heart disease, and they make your blood very viscous and sticky. You want that number less than 100 ideally, are your triglyceride levels. Total cholesterol, LDL cholesterol, both elevated by saturated fat in the diet. Saturated fat really coming from animal products, whole milk, dairy products, processed meats, red meats. So that's where your saturated fat is going to come from, in addition to palm kernel oil and coconut. I don't know why coconut has this trend, but coconut raises LDL cholesterol. Not a good thing. Triglyceride levels are elevated by carbohydrate, sugar, and alcohol in the diet, mostly. So if you've got a diet that is high in white refined carbohydrates and sugar and alcohol, those triglyceride levels are going to be high, and once again, you want to see them less than 100. I want to mention, if you are at high risk for heart disease, you should get something called a coronary artery calcium score. That really tests what's going on in your arteries. It basically is a test that's going to tell you how at risk you are for actually a heart attack. You want your levels to be 0, all right? If it's between 100 and 400, your risk is elevated by tenfold. If it is over 1,000, you have a chance. You have basically a risk, 1 in 4 chance to have a heart attack within the next year if your levels are over 1,000. So super important to get that if you know you're at high risk, is that thing called a coronary artery calcium score. That's actually a scan. You have to ask your doctor about that because they won't just test you for that. Okay, so that's a little bit of a background. So what are the best ways diet-wise that we can improve our heart health? Absolutely a plant-based diet, hands down, all right? Some foods in particular that are most helpful for you, foods that are high in essential fatty acid: avocado, chia seeds, flax seeds, nuts, all nuts, in particular walnuts, but almonds, pistachio nuts, cashews, they're all good, okay? Nuts actually help lower cholesterol. That kind of essential fat you want in the diet. You just need an ounce a day. Chia and flax seeds and hemp seeds are high in omega-3 fatty acids. All you need is 2 tablespoons a day. And avocado and olive oil, high in monounsaturated fat. So those fats are super important to get in the diet. You just need a little bit, but very, very important. All beans, all legumes, best things in the world for you. So everything from in edamame to black beans, lentils, chickpeas, white beans, cannellini beans, navy beans, all your beans and legumes, get them in, because that's first and foremost. They've even shown People who eat beans 4 times a week have the greatest longevity. They're really the best things in the world for you. Whole grains. Yes, you want to have whole grains in the diet. You don't want to avoid them. So, quinoa, brown rice, wild rice in particular, and black rice. The forbidden rice and the wild rices are fantastic for you. Buckwheat, millet, farro, quinoa, as I said, all whole grains. You can also get like the really nice lentil pastas, chickpea pastas, quinoa pastas. They're fantastic. So they help as well. You definitely want to get your grains in. Coffee is actually really beneficial for the heart. So you do not need to avoid coffee. And that does include caffeine. So a few regular, and you could do decaf as well, but coffee, very, very beneficial. And that's because of the components in coffee. So feel free to drink a few cups a day. If you do have high blood pressure, then, know your tolerance. Let me just say that. So just a few a day or even 1 cup a day if your blood pressure is high. But if your blood pressure is fine, you could definitely have 3 cups of coffee a day and be fine. And you're getting benefit from that. Black tea and green tea, really good for the heart, also for cancer prevention. Great for your heart because they're high in flavonoids. Tea and dark chocolate and apples are 3 very high sources of flavonoids, so they're great for the heart. Yes, an apple a day does keep the doctor away because of the flavonoid content of apples, of berries, of green tea, black tea, and chocolate, dark chocolate, not milk. So get those in as well. Citrus, wonderful for you. And we're getting into citrus season. Oranges, tangerines, clementines, grapefruit. So those are wonderful for your heart health as well. And soy products are great for your heart and even have a little bit of cholesterol lowering components to them as well. So tofu and tempeh. Don't get the processed isolates of soy. Those are not as good for you. You want to get as fresh as possible using just tofu that you can air fry or saute, or tempeh, which is even better because it's a fermented product. And there you have it. And garlic, the sulfur vegetables, okay? The cruciferous vegetables in particular. Garlic, onions, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cabbage. Load up. All right, so there you have it for your heart health. Plant-based diet, absolutely first and foremost, will reduce your risk. Okay, so there you go. Have a wonderful day.